Good morning, everyone. Today we will discuss about the plot summary of the historical novel Ivanhoe, written by Sir Walter Scott. In the last lecture, we discussed about the novelist Sir Walter Scott and his historical writing. Today we will talk about Ivanhoe. Ivanhoe is also a historical novel, a romance. Sometimes it is also called a chivalric romance, which was written in 1819. It is a historical novel by Sir Walter Scott. As we know that the historical novel is set, the story of the historical novel is set in the past and portrays the historical characters and incidents. Here, Ivanhoe, the story of Ivanhoe is set in 1194, England of Middle Ages. Sir Walter Scott took the title of his novel, the name of its hero, from the village of Ivanhoe. The name of Ivanhoe, he says in his introduction, was suggested by an old rhyme. Ivanhoe is one of the Waverley novels. Waverley novels is a long series of some historical novels written by Sir Walter Scott. And Waverley is the first novel in this series. And the historical novel, Ivanhoe, is one of these novels in this series. Waverley was the first novel in this series. And Sir Walter Scott did not acknowledge his authorship until 1827. And the publisher sought his permission to write the novels by the author of Waverley in his succeeding novels. His succeeding novels bore this version on the title page. The novels by the author of Waverley, which became, this novel became immensely popular and received very well reviews from the critics as a historical novel. A shift from Scotland to England in Middle Ages. In earlier historical novels, Sir Walter Scott set his story in Scotland. But in this novel, Ivanhoe, you will find a kind of shift from Scotland to England in Middle Ages. Interest in medievalism. Yes, this novel is set in 12th century England, depicting the colorful description, having the colorful description of the tournament, chivalry, witchcraft, outlaws, the division between the Jews and Christians. All these things are described with vivid details in this novel. John Henry Newman claimed that Scott had first turned men's mind in the direction of Middle Ages. The novel, Ivanhoe, the historical novel, focuses on two conflicts. On the broader context, there is a conflict between Anglo-Saxons and the Normans. As we know that the Anglo-Saxons were the cultural group settled in Great Britain in 5th century till 1066, when the Norman conquest took place, and the Normans, the French soldiers invaded Great Britain. And there was this cultural conflict between the Anglo-Saxons and the Normans. So we come across this conflict between the Saxons and these two cultural groups, Anglo-Saxons and the Normans, in the novel. On the personal level, there is a conflict between Ivanhoe and his father. We will see in detail further. The story of Ivanhoe is set in 1194 after the failure of Third Crusade. In the last lecture, I told you about the crusade, The Third Crusade was a religious war that took place in Palestine, the part of Israel between the Christians and the Muslims. The Norman King Richard the Lionheart had been captured by Leopold of Austria on his return journey to England and was believed to still be in captivity. The story begins with the return of some Norman knights after the failure of this Third Crusade from the Holy Land. And at the same time, Ivanhoe, the protagonist of the novel, he is also coming back, but he is in disguise as a farmer. Farmer is a kind of character that bears that the palm leaf that indicates that he was a pilgrim. So Ivanhoe is in disguise. He's also returning from the Holy Land after the failure of the Third Crusade. The Norman King Richard has also come back, and there are other characters like the Isaac of York and the Norman knights like Maurice de Bracy and Brian de Bois Gilbert. These knights are also coming back, and they are trying to take shelter with the Lord Cedric of Rotherwood. So here, the Norman King Richard, he is also known as Richard the Lionheart for his valor and courage. He's also on his return journey, but it is believed that he was captivated by the Lord of a Duke of Austria, and he was believed to be still in captivity. So this is the beginning of the story. Now let's see the major characters of the novel. The very first character is Cedric the Saxon. It is the Saxon lord of Rotherwood. He is very much proud of his Saxon heritage, and he is very passionate about reawakening the Saxon royal line. Wilfred of Ivanhoe. Wilfred of Ivanhoe is Cedric's, the Saxon lord's son. He is an eponymous character of the novel who gives the title to this novel. He is known for his heroism, chivalry, and valor. He is very loyal to the Norman king, Richard, and he accompanies him, he follows him in the Third Crusade in the Holy Land. The next character is Rowena. Rowena is a woman character, Saxon lady, and she is King Cedric's ward. The Lord Cedric is her caretaker, the guardian. Okay. The next character is Athelstan. Athelstan is also a high-born Saxon noble and Cedric's kinsman. And he is a pretender. Pretender here means he claims to the crown of England, being a descendant from his descent from the last Saxon king. The next character is Gurth. Gurth is a swineherd, a person who tends the pigs. Okay, he is allied to the Lord Cedric, the Saxon. The next character is Wamba. Wamba is his jester, or we can say a clown or a fool. And this character of Wamba is shaped after, the pattern of the fools we find in Shakespeare's plays. Wamba, as they are depicted as a clown and fool, but they are very intelligent, very witty. He comes out with the nuggets of wry wisdom at times. The next character is the Prior of Hymen. Prior of Hymen is the abbot of Jorvox. Abbot of Jorvox here means he is the head of a monastery. But here he represents the hypocrisy of the Middle Age church. Okay, and he is addicted to food and pleasure. And his companion is Brian de Bois Gilbert. Brian de Bois Gilbert is a Knight Templar. Knight Templars in Middle Ages was an international military or religious organization, and this organization was dedicated to the conquest of the Holy Land and protection of the pilgrims. But they were often criticized for meddling with the European politics. In this novel, Brian De Boy Gilbert is depicted as a conventional villain, and the hero, Ivanhoe and Gilbert, they are mortal enemies to each other. The next character is Isaac of York. Isaac of York is a Jewish moneylender. This character is also cut after the pattern of Shylock in Merchant of Venice, written by Shakespeare. A very stereotypical literary Jew, okay, who is average, who is greedy of wealth. Okay. The next character is Rebecca. Rebecca is Isaac of York's daughter. She is a very strong-willed character, incredibly, she has incredible self-control, and she is also a very skilled healer. She has some knowledge of herbs and medicine. The next character is King Richard. King Richard is the Norman king of England at that time. He is the king of England, the Norman king. After the Norman conquest, the Normans take over the Saxons. He also appears in the novel in disguise, and he is known as Black Knight, sometimes a Black Sluggard. Okay, and he is also known as the Richard the Lionheart for his valor, for his courage, okay, for his heroism and chivalry. Prince John is King Richard's brother. He is known for his power, hunger, and treachery. He plots against his own brother, King Richard, and in his absence, he usurps his throne. Okay, so he is a negative character. The next character is Locksley. Locksley is a very interesting character. He is actually the Robin Hood of the novel, an outlaw. I hope that you are familiar with this character, Robin Hood, who is the leader of the gang of merry men in the forest, and who robs the rich and gives to the poor. Okay, so Locksley is such character who is very good at archery also. Reginald Frondibus. He's the ugliest and the brutalest, we can say, villain of the novel, and he's the one who kills the genuine original lord of the castle called Torquil Stone, and he is also a Norman knight who represents a negative character. The next character is Maurice de Bracy. Maurice de Bracy is also a Norman knight, mercenary, we can say. These Norman knights are allied to Prince John. Reginald Frondibus, Maurice de Bracy, they are allied to Prince John. They support him. And Maurice de Bracy is a mercenary. We can say that he is a greedy of money. They are concerned only with money at the cost of their ethical values as well. The next character is Friar Tuck. Friar Tuck is introduced as a monk, the monk clerk of Coppenhurst, but later on he is revealed to be one of the merry men of the gang of Robin Hood. Okay. Ulrica of Torquiston, alias Alfred. It is a Saxon woman, a very old, ugly woman in the novel, and she is the daughter of the lord of this castle, Torquiston, and her father was killed by Frondibus, and she wants to take revenge upon these Norman knights. Lucas de Beaumanoir. These are the French names, so their pronunciations are very different. Lucas de Beaumanoir. He is the Grand Master of the Knight Templars. I told you about the Knight Templars. He is the Grand Master of this Knight Templars. So these are the major characters of the novel. Yes. Now let's see the plot summary. In the opening of the book, we find that as these crusaders are coming back from the Holy Land to their nation, Ivanhoe is also one of them, but he is in the disguise of a farmer. He's a protagonist, eponymous character of the novel. Ivanhoe is disinherited by his father. He is out of favor with his father. There are two reasons for behind it. Because Ivanhoe supports King Richard, the Norman king, and therefore his father, Cedric, the Saxon, he dislikes his own son, Ivanhoe. And the other reason is that he is in love with Rowena, his father, Cedric Saxon's ward. Cedric planned to have Rowena marry the powerful Lord Athelstan, the highborn noble Saxon, so that he can reawaken the Saxon royal line. Okay, and therefore, Ivanhoe is disinherited by his father. Ivanhoe accompanies King Richard on the third crusade, as we have already discussed, that he supposes is very loyal to King Richard, and he accompanies him in the third crusade in the Holy Land, and they fight for the common cause. Okay. While they come back, Ivanhoe observes that Gilbert and other Norman knights, they are planning a plot against Isaac. They are planning to capture Isaac. But Ivanhoe comes to his rescue and he helps Isaac. And in return, Isaac also helps Ivanhoe. He gives him a horse and some armors to fight in the tournament that was about to take place in a castle called Ashby de la Jose. So let's see the next slide. Tournament at Ashby de la Jose. Let me tell you that Ashby de la Jose was a castle in England in Middle Ages. Now it is a historical place in ruin in England. And during Middle Ages were known for the tournament, the witchcraft, the chivalric deeds, daring do, all these things in Middle Ages. So here, in the next part of the story, we find that a tournament takes place at the castle of the castle that is known as Ashby de la Jose. In this tournament is presided over by Prince John, and also in attendance are Cedric, Athelstan, Lady Rowena, Isaac of York, his daughter Rebecca, Robin of Locksley, that is Robin Hood, and his men, Prince John's advisor, Waldemar Fitzgerald, and numerous Norman knights. Means all the major characters are present here in this tournament. Now, what happens that in the beginning of this tournament, after a lot of defeats of the Saxon knights, there appears one mysterious knight, and he identifies himself as Desdicado. Desdicado is a word which is derived from Saxons, which means disinherited, which gives us a hint that it might be Ivanhoe, as he has been disinherited by his father. So he is in disguise. So he appears in the tournament and he defeats Brian Gilbert. Okay, and there was this individual, jousting. Jousting was a Middle Ages, sporting fight in which the two opponents sit on the back of the horse and fighting with their lances, as you can see in the image. This is called jousting. So in this individual jousting, he defeats Boy Gilbert. Then Ivanhoe, who is in disguise, is asked to remove his mask and reveal his identity. But despite the request of Prince John, Ivanhoe is not ready to reveal his identity. He declines to reveal his identity. But still, nevertheless, he is declared the champion of the tournament, and he is given the permission to select the queen of the tournament, and he bestows this honor on Lady Rowena. The next day, Desdicado, or we can say Ivanhoe in disguise, gets into a scuffle, or we can say a kind of confused fight with his adversaries, okay, his enemies, okay. And his party is hard pressed and he incurs many wounds and injuries, okay. But by the way, he's declared the champion of the tournament, and while He was given the coronet, or we can say the crown of championship. He is forced to unmask him, and then he is identified as the Ivanhoe, Wilfred the Ivanhoe. And with his appearance, Prince John is also filled with anxiety and consternation, because now he is afraid that his brother, King Richard the Lionheart, must be back from the Third Crusade, and he must be around somewhere in England itself. Rebecca, as we know, Isaac's daughter, she is a skilled healer. She has knowledge of herbs and knowledge. She takes care of Ivanhoe. She tends to him while they are lodged near the tournament. And she convinces her father to take Ivanhoe with them to their home in York when it is fit for them for that trip. Capture and rescue. In the forest between Ashby and York, okay, Isaac, Rebecca, and the wounded Ivanhoe are abandoned by their guards, who fear bandits and take all of Isaac's horses. So when Rebecca, Isaac, and wounded Ivanhoe, they were traveling from Ashby to York, they were abandoned by their guards because they are afraid of bandits, and at the same time they take all the horses of Isaac. So they are left alone. At the same time, in that forest, Cedric of Saxon, the Lord Cedric of Saxon, Athelstan and Lady Rowena, they are also going from the same route, and they happen to meet Isaac, Rebecca, and the wounded Ivanhoe. And they agree to travel together. The party is captured by De Bracy and his companions and taken to Torquil Stone, the castle of Frondibus. Now, Maurice de Bracy, he is in love with Rowena. He wants to marry Rowena. Even Prince John also wants to help him to marry Rowena, but he is very impatient. And he plots an attack on this party during their travel in the forest. And he attacks them and captures with his companions all these people, all these captives. Okay. And he takes these captives to the castle, Torquil Stone. Okay, it is a castle of Frondibus. All these are supporters of Prince John. Now, but during this attack, two characters, the swineherd Gurth and the jester Wamba, they managed to escape. And during their escape, they encounter Locksley, the Robin Hood. Okay, and they all plan a rescue. Okay, rescue of all these captives who are captivated in the castle of Torquil Stone. The Black Knight, the King Richard the Lionheart, actually is also there, who has taken refuge in a hut of Friar, one of the merry men of the gang of Robin Hood. He's informed about these captives by the Robin Hood, the Locksley, and he also volunteers his assistance. And they all together plan a rescue. And what they do, they besiege the castle of Frondibus, castle, Torquil Stone. They surround it with their armed forces so that they can force them to surrender. Now, they send a message to these, these people, the Norman knights, the Normans who have captivated all these people, and the Saxon knights as well, to surrender. But these Norman knights, they make a plan. They say that they want a priest to hear the confession from these prisoners. Actually, their plan is that through this priest, they want to convey a message to their allies, to gather more soldiers and troops. That is their plan. So what happens that Wamba, Cedric's jester, he slips into the castle in the disguise of a priest, and then he takes the place of the Lord Cedric, and Cedric in the disguise of priest tries to escape. So before escaping the castle, he wanders around the castle, and he comes across Rebecca also. He comes across Ulrica. Ulrica tells him about a story that how this castle, Torquil Stone, was usurped by this Norman knights, and her father was killed, and she wants to take a revenge upon this Norman knights for the death of her father and all. Somehow Cedric escapes the castle. He comes out, And he informs the besiegers, that means Locksley and Black Knight and their companions, about the strategy and the strength of the troops of Frandibor, okay, who owns this castle from Torquistone. Okay, the castle is set aflame during the assault by Ulrica, the daughter of original lord of the castle, Lord Torquistone, as revenge for her father's death. Now, what happens is besiegers, Black Knight, Locksley, and all his companions, they storm the castle. Now, during this time, during this attack, Ulrica, she sets the castle, the whole castle aflame, sets it on fire. And in this fire, because she wants to take revenge upon these Norman knights for her father's death. Yeah. Now, during this attack, when the whole castle is on fire, Frantibuf is killed. The ugliest, brutalist villain of the novel of the story is killed in this fire. While De Bracy surrenders to Black Knight, who identifies himself as King Richard, and releases De Bracy. Boy Gilbert escapes with Rebecca, while Isaac is rescued by the clerk of Compman first. Yes. Now, in this fire, the villain is dead. Frantibuf. Bracy surrenders to Black Knight, the King Richard, and Richard releases him. And Boy Gilbert is successful in escaping with Rebecca. Now, let me tell you that inside the castle, De Bracy was trying to seduce Robina, who wanted to marry her, but she rejects. At the same time, Gilbert, Boyce de Gilbert, he tries to seduce Rebecca, but he's rebuffed. Rebecca climbs on the turret of the castle and threatens him that she will leave from that turret. And Boyce Gilbert is so emotionally disturbed that he says that he maintains a distance, and Rebecca says that they can be framed but with a distance. Okay, so when this castle is on fire, there is an attack. He is successful in escaping with Rebecca. Okay, and Isaac is also rescued by the clerk of Copman Hall, that is Friar, the character Friar. Now, the Lady Rowena is saved by Cedric, while a still wounded Ivanhoe is rescued from the burning castle by King Richard. Okay. Now, in the fighting, Athelstan is wounded and presumed dead while attempting to rescue Rebecca from whom he mistakes for Rowena. So, Athelstan, the Saxon noble, he is badly wounded and is presumed to be dead in that attack. Yes. Now we have come to the final part of the story, Rebecca's trial and Ivanhoe's reconciliation. Now what happens that Bracy is released by the Black Knight. He goes to Prince John and he informs him about the return of King Richard, the Black Knight. Now Prince John plots an attack on his brother Richard, King Richard. And the Robin Hood, the Locksley, they come to his rescue. Now there is a fall of Torquistone after it is set on fire. Now here let's talk about Rebecca and Gilbert. Gilbert, rushes to a place that is called Preceptory of this Knight Templars, and there he takes Rebecca. Now the Grand Master of this Knight Templar is Lucas de Beaumanoir, and he charges Rebecca. He accuses her of witchcraft and he subjects her to the trial of her witchcraft. Now here Gilbert helps Rebecca and prompts her to ask for trial by combat. The trial by combat is a kind of fight between two champions from both the sides, and whoever wins, the judgment would be based on that. So here on Rebecca's side, Ivanhoe comes and he fights for her, and in this fight, Gilbert dies. Okay, and in this, Rebecca is rescued. Now, on the other side, in Königsberg, Athelstan, who is believed to be dead, and the funeral preparation is going on. At that time, King Richard, the Black Knight, reaches there, and during their conversation, it is revealed that Athelstan was actually not dead, and he was laid in the coffin alive. So he is also rescued. And Cedric and Richard, they are still not, they are still at cross. But somehow Richard, the King Richard, he calms him down and he brings about a kind of reconciliation between Cedric and his son Ivanhoe. At the same time, over Cedric's renewed protest, Athelstan pledges his homage to the Norman King Richard and urges Cedric to marry Rowena to Ivanhoe, to which Cedric finally agrees. And Ivanhoe fights on Rebecca's behalf, as we have seen. Ivanhoe and Rowena marry and live a long, happy life together. So at the end of the story, we find that there is a reconciliation, okay, between the father and the son, Cedric and the son Ivanhoe. At the same time, the Saxon Lord Cedric and the Norman King, King Richard, the Black Knight. Okay, now let's talk about the conclusion. Ivanhoe, this historical novel, maintains many of the elements of romance genre. The chivalry, the daring do, and overthrowing the corrupt social order and all these features we find that makes it a novel of romance genre. The novel creates a realistic and vibrant story. Yes, Walter Scott has very realistically portrayed the historical events, the characters, which appears to be very authentic. It becomes a vibrant story, and he doesn't seem to be, favoring one particular group or one particular, we can say, religious or political group, but he just wants to portray the events, the historical events and the characters in a very realistic manner, in a very passionate manner that makes the story very vibrant. The conflict and the reconciliation between the Normans and the Saxon at the end of the story, it seems that the reconciliation is emphasized between the Normans and the Saxon for the unity of England, for the united England. And it is hinted at that their cultural values are at risk, okay, if they are divided. But they should get united for the upliftment of the country, England. This is a historical novel, and the location of the novel is centered upon southern Yorkshire, northwest Leicestershire, and northern Nottinghamshire in England. Castles mentioned within the story include Ashby de la Jew's castle. Now it is in ruin in the care of English heritage. Historical accuracy and fictionalization. Yes, you will find a combination of historical accuracy and fictionalization. There are the details of some political incidents, historical events, which are very accurately described in the novel. But at the same time, this novel is heavily fictionalized, as Scott's aim was to create a compelling novel set in a historical period, not to provide a book of history. Yes, his intention was not to provide a book of history, but to create a remarkable aesthetic literary piece set in a historical period. So yes, we will find a combination, a mixture of historical accuracy and fictionalization. Both the things you will find it. That makes it a very interesting historical novel. So here we come to end of this discussion. Thank you.